Good early afternoon. We are live here at the Blue Plate Special. I am Andy Andrews, and you have joined us in Orange Beach, Alabama at Wisdom Harbor Studios. We're located at the Wharf, home of the famous escalator statues. So when you visit us, make sure you take your picture on the escalator statues. They're lifelike. They're everything but real. So we're glad to have you here. We have a great show here together today, and we're going to take questions. We're going to take questions today on the topic of a decided heart. So this is the fourth decision, and we're going to premiere the streaming music and the video from the guys in LA with the I Have a Decided Heart video. We're going to premiere that today. If you're new to us and you're just joining in on Facebook, we're glad to have you. Please click that notification button there and turn the notifications on your phone so that when we go live anytime here at Wisdom Harbor Studios, day or night, you will be notified. On YouTube, if you click that subscription button, that would help us a lot. On Instagram, you're watching a release right after it goes. But on Twitter, you're watching it live. And on LinkedIn, you're watching it live. So we're glad to have you guys here. Marcy Crossell Taylor, hello from hot, dry, smoky where you are. So, man, you got forest fires there in Washington? Yikes. Chet Calhoun, howdy, from sunny Dallas, Georgia. I wonder how many Dallases there are. You know, we know about the one in Texas. There's one in Georgia. I wonder how many there are. And I wonder why there are so many. We have guests in the studio today. Travis Edwards from Springfield, Missouri. Man, Springfield, Missouri. I love Springfield, Missouri. That's very close to Reed Springs. Friends of ours, Dr. Grant Woods and his family there. And the biggest Bass Pro Shops of all time there in Springfield. And then Patrick and Bennett Johnson from Memphis, Tennessee. Well, if my wife was here, she would say, Memphis, where Elvis is from. You know, my wife is this big Elvis person. And I always tell her that if Elvis was still alive, he would be like Engelbert Humperdinck in Las Vegas selling donuts. So I really tell her that to make her mad. But anyway, we're glad you guys are here. And Joey and Zelona Clary from Hastings, Nebraska. All right. Good. So how are the Cornhuskers going to be this year? What do you think? Yeah, I don't know. We've, here in Alabama, we have our professional football team, the Crimson Tide. So. But you guys in Nebraska are like we are here. You're college football because there's no professional sports here. And so it's like college football 365 days a year. You're Alabama or Auburn here, so. But you guys don't have anybody. You don't have an Auburn. You don't have a nemesis there, do you? It's just everybody in the state facing one way, and we're all yakking at each other here. And Vanessa from Orange Beach, hey, glad you're here. We have people in the studio, and we're doing a show today on a decided heart. We'll get to that in just a minute. And so if you have some questions about a decided heart that I can fill in some blanks for you, please ask. Judy Ann Will said there are 14 places named Dallas in America. Wow. And that doesn't even include the people who are named Dallas. So, Hannah Gadledge, how are you? Dave Sisson, early afternoon in Pensacola, Florida. Got kind of a cloudy, hot day here, but Deanna Kilpatrick, good afternoon. I did. Have you guys seen the? Have you seen Gulf Coast Nation lately? I, Adam and Dylan are Gulf Coast Nation, and they catch the sharks and they take people shark fishing. And I clicked on YouTube the other night, and like Saturday evening. Have you seen that video, Matt? Of the hammerhead?
Oh, I did. It's incredible.
I mean, I just like kind of clicked on it, and Adam had not even called to say that a client had gotten one. I knew that the night before they had landed 2 tiger sharks over 11 feet from the beach, and so that's on YouTube on Gulf Coast Nation, and but then I see this new one that posted, and I'm looking at it, and this family, I mean, the reel screams, and Adam's helper like gets in front of the reel, and they're leaning back, and this thing is just like screaming out. I mean, it's just screaming. And Adam says, I mean, they hadn't even seen it. And Adam says, seems like a hammer. How does he know? How does he know? But just from the way it picked up the bait and the way it's screaming out, says, seems like a big hammer. And sure enough, it was a 12-foot hammerhead. And they get this thing in the surf. And I'm just watching Adam just kind of walk out there and just grab hold and, get on top of him and grab the head, and, his helpers with the what do you call the bolt cutters, getting the hook out, and then they release him in 60 seconds. A 12-foot hammerhead. This is a 1,000-pound fish. And I'm looking at my kid and thinking, how do you even know how to do this? I mean, where do you practice for stuff like that? I mean, if you're going to play baseball at a major league level, there's little league, and then high school, and then college, and then minor. But how do you practice this? Dealing. You see this? The guys in the studio. That's Adam with a 12-foot tiger shark, right there. And here, I'll show you. That. I mean, I don't know how you practice for stuff like that, because it's kind of like cliff diving. There is no little cliff to dive off of. It's just like, if you end up on the rocks, I don't think I'll try this again. And now they don't let their clients, their insurance, their business insurance, their clients can't kayak the baits out with them. So they're kayaking the baits out, and the clients can't get in the water when they're tagging and releasing the shark, but they've got them right there where they can get their pictures taken with them, and the clients, reeling them and landing them and stuff like that. But I am I am just like amazed at how they do this. Because Adam had a couple of weeks ago had one where he had his foot on the pectoral fin, and he had his foot on the pectoral fin, while the other guy is getting the bolt cutters to get the hook out, and the shark started going crazy, and he can't take his foot off because there's teeth in that thing. But the things are. The sharks are like sandpaper. If you've ever felt a shark, I don't know if you've ever felt a shark, but if you go one way on the shark, it's very smooth. And this way, you go back the other way, it's like the roughest sandpaper you ever had. Well, when the shark was just like going nuts and Adam had to keep his foot on that fin, it just like took the skin off his ankle. So, anyway, but you should watch some of these videos sometimes, and but they're taking families and corporate groups, and they've hired people because they're doing 2 trips a night a lot of times now. So, okay, let's get to it. I'm through talking about sharks. All right, so we're going to talk about a decided heart. That's our topic today, is a decided heart. And if you have any questions about it, now we're gonna reveal this this brand new piece of music that the guys from LA, and these guys. By the way, how you like my shirt? The shirt is from $Sand Lifestyles. Okay, right over here, cornerstone of the wharf, and. This is a Sand shirt. So when you visit us, visit Sand, okay? Philip Dooley says, I have a decided heart, and I have decided I will not get in the water and play with the hammerhead. Yeah, well, that's a good decision. That's a good decision. Every time somebody gets attacked by a shark around here, they come out with the statistics about you have a greater chance of dying by a bee sting or a greater chance of being struck by lightning than but me, I've got 0 chance of dying by a shark attack because I'm not getting in the water. I don't get in the water.
One of my favorites is that more people are killed by, I think it's vending machines every year, than by sharks.
By vending machines?
Vending machines.
Yeah, but think about how many YouTube channels there are of people wrestling vending machines. Not so many.
Yep,
not so many.
true.
It's just not that interesting. Even though the danger is there, obviously. Okay, so we're going to premiere the Decided Heart video in just a minute. But let me explain what a Decided Heart is. And then if you have questions. Now, in the Traveler's Gift, the Decided Heart is the 4th decision. And a decided heart, let me put it this way. I think more people fail at what they do because of an undecided heart than for any other reason. And you know what an undecided heart is. You'll see somebody, they'll have a decision to make, and they'll think about it, and they'll analyze it, and they'll do some more analysis, and then they'll hire a consultant, and then they'll talk to their family about it, and they'll talk to their friends about it, then they'll make the decision. Then when they make the decision, they talk to their family about whether they should have made the decision then, and talk to their friends about what their family says, and then they take the decision back. Then they talk to their family about whether they should have took it back or stayed with it in the first place, and they talk to their friends about what their family says about whether they should have, and life becomes this ongoing state of analysis. Okay, so analysis is its own industry now. With technology, you can let analysis take its head. If you hire somebody to analyze something, you better have an end date for it, because they'll keep analyzing as long as you keep paying. But personally, we need to remember that analysis has a purpose, and the purpose of analysis is to come to a conclusion. That's the purpose of it. The purpose of analysis is not to continue to analyze over and over again. You know, I see people sometimes that personally and corporately that they analyze so much that when they finally make a decision, they hadn't got any energy left to actually do what they decided to do. And then when it all falls apart, they blame it on faulty analysis. But it's not faulty analysis that's the challenge, because we are not created with the ability to we're not created with the ability to gather enough information to make right decisions every time. And unless you can tell the future, unless you can predict the future, you can't possibly analyze enough to make perfect decisions every time, unless you can tell the future. And the psychic network, they went out of business. You'd have thought they'd have seen that coming. But you are created with the ability to analyze to a point and then make a decision and then go about the business of making that decision right. You know? I mean, you can, it's like you guys in the studio. When you get in the car to drive back home, you're not going to just get in the car and put it in drive and sit back and read a paperback and expect to get home. You're going to have to make some turns. You're going to have to, and you know, when you get in the car and drive home, you don't get halfway there and run into traffic or run into a detour and go, well, I didn't know it was going to be like this. Nobody said that it was going to be like this. If I'd have known it was like this, I would never started. I'll never do this again. I'll never leave home again. I mean, really? But that's what people do with their lives, because they expect to be able to have that perfect analysis. But to be able to have a decided heart means that you believe what you have decided. And you have faith in what you have decided. And you move forward with an open mind, accepting detours, but you move. You do something. You do something. You move. A decided heart. And you know, this is the leadership principle, by the way. A decided heart. I will have a decided heart, I think, is the leadership principle in its essence. I've got a friend who writes books about leadership, and I tease him about all the books. You know, you've got the 17 irrefutable laws of leadership, and then the 21 laws of leadership you wrote after the book of 17 sold, and then the 43 laws of leadership that you thought of after the publisher wanted more leadership laws. And I've told him, I said, people are going to get a little upset with you when they understand that a lot of leadership really falls down to setting yourself on fire and running down the street, because people follow you just to watch you burn. You know, and so, but there is an essence of truth in a decided heart, it being the essence of leadership. Because when somebody has a decided heart, think about this. When you're wanting to sell something, you want somebody to buy what you're selling, you're wanting them to follow you, okay? When you're wanting somebody to to come around to your way of thinking. You're wanting them to follow you. Well, people follow people who know where they're going. You know, people don't follow people. People don't follow Eeyore uphill into machine gun fire. Okay, people follow people who have a decided heart. And we all want to be married to somebody with a decided heart. Children want parents with a decided heart. We want to work for somebody who has a decided heart. We want to work beside somebody who has a decided heart. We want people to work for us who have decided hearts. We want friends and neighbors who have decided hearts, people who are not wandering generalities, but they are decided. And, I read a lot of history, and one of the things that I typically go back to over and over again is stuff written by kings, because it's easily accessible, because they kept everything that kings wrote, everything that kings did, they kind of keep it. You know, if King Henry VIII ate with a fork, you can bet it's in a museum somewhere. Hey, the king ate with that. And I mean, they kept it. And so, whatever kings write or whatever they said, they record it as well. And when I was in high school, there was a great movie. This was before Indiana Jones. It was King Solomon's Mines, and I remember Richard. Who's the guy? The Thornbirds. You know what I'm talking about? The actor Richard Chamberlain. Richard Chamberlain. He was the Indiana Jones character in King Solomon's Mines. And I was very interested in that movie because King Solomon was a real person. And history tells us that King Solomon was the wealthiest person who ever lived on the planet. And historians also agree that he was the wisest person who ever lived on the planet. So, the wealthiest and the wisest, that must be the best anybody ever turned out. And so, because he was a king, his stuff is available. You can find the things that King Solomon wrote. And he wrote like a king. He wasn't a great author. It was just like, do this and do that, and don't do this and don't do that. But I one time, because I've read extensively what King Solomon wrote, and have really delved into it and tried to figure out some of it, because some of it I understood, some of it I didn't really understand why, but I've really tried to understand the why to this, and I think that at one point I began to wonder, why is he like telling all this stuff? Why is he writing all this stuff down? It's like, dude, I mean, it's across the board. It's like how to raise your kids, how to find somebody to marry, how to make money, what to do with money when you get it, what not to do with your money, how to build a business. I mean, it's like, everything. And so I got to looking at the historical King Solomon, and King Solomon, so as the wealthiest person in history, his father was King David, which, if you're following the movies, that was Richard Gere. Richard Gere played King David in a movie. And King David was like, he was Solomon's father. But King David was not known for being fabulously wealthy. It was just like, because he moved around. It was like an armed camp. King David was a conqueror, which was like a job description in those days. And then all of a sudden, the next generation, here's Solomon, the wealthiest. And so I think, well, does he make his money? And he stayed in one place, and people joined his kingdom, and he was known for being wise and helping, and so taxes. That's how he made his money, and so I was reading this stuff and trying to figure out, okay, even if he is just this mercenary guy, he is wanting to tell the truth about how to, do a good business and all, because if the people have a great business, they pay more in taxes, right? So even if it's just selfish reasons, he's going to tell them the truth. And then he's telling them about their families and how to have happy families, because he knows that if they have happy families, the businesses work better, because businesses that are run by people with unhappy families, the businesses don't do as well. And so I began to have a lot more faith in what I was reading, even when I didn't understand. And one of the things that I read, this is regarding a decided heart, is he wrote, and I didn't understand this at first, but he said, stop listening to teaching that contradicts what you already know is the truth. And what that means is, you reach a point, you don't need to analyze anymore. You don't need to cast out there anymore. You don't need to find out anymore. Stop listening to teaching that contradicts what you already know to be true. It's just clutter in your mind. So, in our days, as we experience a lot of clutter in the world, you kind of don't know what you're hearing, and you don't know what to believe, and the COVID and this and that, and the vaccine, and yes and no, and I mean, a lot of it becomes clutter, and you can narrow in. You can live with a decided heart. And I had somebody ask me, how do I live with the uncertainty of the world today? And I thought about how Jones would answer that, and I realized that we live with the uncertainty of the world today just like we did before COVID, before crazy elections, because in reality the world was just as uncertain then as it is now. We're just paying attention to the uncertainty. And so there is a time to take a breath and stop listening to teaching that contradicts what you already know to be right and true, to grab a decided heart, a lot of the energy is spent. It's, it goes into the ethos and comes back as a mind clogger, I guess. But hey, you want to see the video? You want to see the video? Now this is performed, and I'm going to tell you how these videos came out. Armin Newton and Albert Burgos are two guys from Los Angeles who read The Traveler's Gift. And Albert is a composer, a musician, and he and Armin were friends. Armin is a voice actor, and he MCs NBA franchises, does voice work in film and television, and so they loved The Traveler's Gift and said, somebody's got to do something to make more people be interested in these books. And so, they did this work, and they sent it to us, and we were like, where are these guys from? And so we had Zoom calls and talked back and forth, and it came to agreements about how to put it out. And so I am so grateful to these guys, and we're releasing these things one at a time. And so today, the fourth one is going out here on the Blue Plate Special. So we're gonna air the music with a video, and this music is available for streaming, and it's available at all the usual suspects, and so teams and organizations will be using this. And so here we go. Let's roll I Have a Decided Heart.
I have a decided heart.
Keep loving me. You keep loving me.
When quitting was easy to me.
Keep loving me.
When I felt like my prayers were going nowhere.
Keep loving me. You keep loving me.
When I had no purpose for living. Then I realized I always had you.
A wise man once said, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." Knowing this to be true, I am taking my first step today. For too long, my feet have been tentative, shuffling left and right, more backward than forward, as my heart gauged the direction of the wind. Criticism, condemnation, and complaint are creatures of the wind. They come and go on the wasted breath of lesser beings and have no power over me. The power to control direction belongs to me. Today, I will begin to exercise that power. My course has been charted. My destiny is assured.
I have a decided heart.
I am passionate about my vision for the future. I will awaken every morning with an excitement about the new day and its opportunities for growth and change. My thoughts and actions will work in a forward motion, never sliding into the dark forest of doubt or the muddy quicksand of self-pity. I will freely give my vision for the future to others, and as they see the belief in my eyes, they will follow me. I will lay my head on my pillow at night, happily exhausted, knowing that I have done everything in my power to move the mountains in my path. As I sleep, the same dream that dominates my waking hours will be with me in the dark. Yes, I have a dream. It is a great dream, and I will never apologize for it. Neither will I ever let it go, for if I did, my life would be finished. My hopes, my passions, my vision for the future is my very existence. A person without a dream never had one come true.
I have a decided heart.
I will not wait. I know that the purpose of analysis is to come to a conclusion. I have tested the angles. I have measured the probabilities. And now I have made a decision with my heart. I am not timid. I will move now and not look back. What I put off until tomorrow, I will put off until the next day as well. I do not procrastinate. All my problems become smaller when I confront them. If I touch a thistle with caution, it will prick me. But if I grasp it boldly, its spines crumble into dust. I will not wait. I am passionate about my vision for the future. My course has been charted. My destiny is assured.
I have a decided heart.
Keep loving
Thank you, Armin and Albert. Isn't that great? So we will post that as itself on the social media, but you can find it and download it anywhere you get good music, and we're going to make that available to teams and organizations, and so we'll show you what we come up with. But we appreciate you joining us today, and appreciate the discussion. Appreciate your lives. I appreciate your families, your endurance, your deep thinking, and your presence. We'll see you next week.